Hey everyone, this is Alex Cranmer. This is video response 2 for EDM 500 with Dr. Jen Miller. So we were instructed to read chapters 2 and 3 from our educational research textbook written by John Cresswell. And I'll start off with chapter 2. So chapter 2 was titled Identifying a Research Problem. It went into how to identify your problem, how to make sure your problem's relevant, and make sure that it's actually a problem that needs studied. And then talks a little bit about, if that problem is feasible, what kind of problem that may be, and then writing the statement of the problem. So the first step is defining a research problem. In this case, it's an educational issue or problem that you would like to solve or gather more information about and attempt to solve and help other educators. We also want to talk more about why it matters and who it matters to. So in this case, it'd probably be educators or other coaches like myself. It needs to be feasible. So you need to make sure that you can actually research and pull this off. So that includes like access to participants, resources, like can you do it? Do you have enough time to do it? And do you have the skills to do it? That's another big one too. So just making sure that your problem is feasible is really important. Is this a quantitative problem or a qualitative problem? So I talked a little about this in chapter 1. Depending on which of those two your problem falls under, your experiment will be a bit different. And then the biggest piece that I found from this chapter, which I know will be a part of our greater overall project, is writing the statement of the problem. So he outlines, kind of how to do that. Cresswell does. And that's, explaining the topic and the problem itself, justifying why it's important to research this. Also kind of justifying and giving people some background as to why you need to research this specifically. So if there's no existing studies or knowledge about this, it's obviously relevant as long as you can explain why. And then the intended audience for the research, like who's this research going to help? Is it going to help other coaches, teachers, kind of a blend of both, somebody else, depending on what you're doing? So yeah, that's kind of how you would set up the statement of the problem. And then moving on to chapter 3. So chapter 3 was titled Reviewing the Literature. He talks a lot about writing the literature review. And the literature review will describe past and current knowledge on your topic. It'll talk about, how to organize your content based on your themes and everything like that, and justifies your need. So it's looking at all the current literature review around your topic and showing like, hey, this is what we have, this is the data we have, this is what we found in the past. Here's why I need to do what I'm trying to set out to do. So that can help you kind of gain support and also justify to yourself why you're doing what you're doing. It's a 5-step process. So he talks about this structured approach of identifying key terms, locate literature, evaluate it all for quality and relevance, organize it, and then write the review. So if it's quantitative or qualitative, it will be a bit different depending on what you're looking at. Quantitative is a bit more validative of the problem. Qualitative kind of gives a little bit more context about the problem. And then, you set that up, set up your lit review, and that will give you a lot more insight as to kind of the past research of the problem and also kind of validates your proposed research. So these chapters were big, and it's making me more and more excited to dive into this project. And I think that obviously if you don't start with the identification of the problem and then reviewing all the literature surrounding the problem, you can't really move on from there. So it's a crucial 2 steps to this whole process. And I found that these chapters were really informative, so I'm excited to keep going. Thanks.